Hey YouTube, what's happening? Back at you with another video. Trying to make it quick. Um, Looks like we're getting in a good spot here with cryptos, with the markets in general, going through their correction. Looks like they might bottom. Um, we'll see how reactive things are, but right now it's just getting to a pivot point, really. It's not like it's just going to reverse hard and all of a sudden you're in a bull market. But we'll just go through, do quick analysis here, get some confirmations maybe, and see, get some ideas of action points on where to, actually place a trade. But if just in general, typically go macro to micro. Um, we took first and foremost, I look at price action. Um, the activity, the patterns, and so forth, and then we drill down on the lower time frames to see more detail. Patterns aren't the same. You get more bars because the time frames smaller increments, so you could see more detail. But essentially, it's the same patterns. It's all the same trades, right? But it helps for forecasting and trade management and so forth. And if you're going to take a trade, you can use the lower time frames to get in the trade early, get a good price, manage the trade so you can get out on time or early, and so forth. So we'll start here with the monthly. You can trade the monthly. Like if you want to do like a longer term holding period, you can certainly, you know, put a trade here for on a monthly bar. Like here, the bar opened here. If you would have sold, you would have, you know, bought back here, made a nice profit for this month. So that's a good way to go if you don't like too much activity and trade turnover. Um, but yeah, I prefer. I mean, I like my money fast. So a couple of days, maybe a week. Just really allows you to catch the either the initial move or a good piece of the second half. In my other videos, you'll hear me talk about a two-bar confirmation. Actually, you have one on the monthly here. Here's one. This closed lower than the previous bar's wick, and then this also closed lower than this wick. So this here is a double close lower, and what you call a two-bar confirmation. It just, I mean, look at all this selling. So it just signifies confidence in the downside move in that direction, and then typically what you'll see is it continues. But let's just do a real quick analysis here. Monthly is a higher time frame, so we're looking at longer term. Forecasting is for, like, typically when you have a trend, it's going to be like 3, 4 to 8 bars. On a monthly, maybe not so much, but like it depends. So if you look here, the bull upside moves, those types of trends actually have different characteristics than a correction. So here, this bull trend here is very very typical Elliott wave, right? You have a wave one, kind of like it goes sideways right here, and then you have a wave one, and then you kind of get like a small correction here, and then you have a massive wave three. Wave three is always the biggest. Then you got the wave four throwback here downside, and then it finishes off with a wave five. Textbook Elliott wave for long-term trends. And then you have a textbook correction. So an ABC pattern where A and C are equivalent in length. And it's just a standard zigzag. Down, up, down, and now we're here. This is probably going to consolidate for a bit. in some sort of bottoming consolidation pattern. And then it's going to, go sideways for a few months. And then hopefully we get a new Elliott wave 1 and it breaks out upside. And then eventually when it hits the end of wave 5, it's higher than this peak here. So it'll be higher than 4,900. But that's the natural progression. So if you look here, the correction is textbook zigzag, A and C wave is equivalent in length, and now we have a green bar here. So let's look at our other indicators and get some additional confirmations. So the momentum here is really, it's blue, so it's still bullish because it's above the zero line, but look, it's right at the zero line now. So anything could happen, really. It could continue downside after a 2-bar move, but let's see what the other indicators show us. So here, the directional bias is very close. That could easily cross. Continue downside. So that's not a very good indication at all. It's still slightly bullish, and there's tons of volatility. I mean, the volatility never really leaves crypto, but there is volatility a lot, so this could really move. It's at the zero. It could really bounce upside and make a big move on a new wave 1, or it could continue to correct and maybe go below. The CCI, which I use as kind of like a cash flow, it should technically like mimic price action, and so here it kind of peaked out at the lowest price where price action troughed. And so it's kind of slightly going upside, which matches price action since there's a green bullish bar here. So that's a positive confirmation. And so typically at tops or bottoms, you have negative confirmations. So I'm not sure I would say it's bottoming it just yet. But like, for example, if you look at this massive bull run, you'll see that the CCI peaked here and slowly went back into the blue. And then you're supposed to sell once it goes into the blue, which is around here where it peaked. But like, if price action's going up, the CCI should be going up. So that's called a negative confirmation. And then as you see price at its highest point, and then the CCI is back down low, they're going the opposite direction. That's not good. And then you have a blue bar here. Momentum's really done. But like, you should look at this long red bar engulfing the like it. This is a very common topping pattern. CCIs going downside. You can't really rely on this because it's monthly, but especially once you see the blue bar, you should have got out. What you can't see here is whether this was blue when this bar opened or not. But after a massive bull run, if you're seeing any blue, like, it's concerning. So take note of that. But let's go to the weekly. We'll finish this up quickly. So here, again, the CCI and price action are in line, right? CCI troughs here where price dipped, tested, and then kind of created a support right here, as you can see. But it's kind of moving upside along with the CCI, so that's a positive confirmation. That basically means that the data integrity is good there. You've got negative momentum here to the downside. Green dots on this indicator indicate that it's expanding volatility range. There's not really any volatility on this time frame. This is kind of weak. So this is what I was saying, is it's going to go into kind of like a bottoming consolidation pattern. You can kind of see here it did. Then it tried to break upside and busted. So depending on your uh, definitions or your opinion, this appears to be like a bottoming descending triangle pattern, and then you have your 3 bar confirmation here, which is generally the start of a move, but then it busted. So I don't know if you want to say this is just a bust, like this was a fake and then they busted to steal that money, or if that's actually just like naturally part of the A B C correction, because that can occur. But what this appears to me to be is a fake out. They make you think it's going to go upside, right, and then they bust it. Happens all the time. Um, all the time. And so that's weekly, which is just looking not too strong with volatility or momentum, and then you got positive confirmation. So now here the daily is interesting because what you have on the daily, it's somewhat of a change in sentiment. So the directional bias is negative. It looks like this kind of peaked out here, the volatility, and it's coming out. And so the volatility is coming out with a bearish directional bias, which kind of makes sense if price is going up because the sell side pressure is coming out of the market. And then you have the CCI confirming this going bullish. So if you look here, we have trend lines drawn on the CCI, and it went up and it touched it. So now what I'm looking for here on the daily is looking the strongest in terms of data integrity. This is likely going to cross. Like you can see here, it consolidated and then it busted. It busted, right? That fake out, and then it busted. It consolidated here. The directional bias was like, I don't know which way it's going. Then it made a clear distinction. It's going to bust. And then you can see this is the move. The volatility kind of peaks and then it makes a second wave, right? It peaks here after this move and then makes a second move here, and now it's kind of stabilizing. These are flirting with each other, so that could easily cross or again consolidate here for a bit. But the reason I think it's probably trying to bottom and so forth is because throughout this bust, you've got the CCI in the blue, but like for the most part below it. And now it's kind of going sideways, but the cash flow is like flirting with this trend line. Like it's trying to break out upside. This is trying to cross and so forth. And so what I'm waiting for is that to occur. What I'm seeing here isn't a signal to buy and go long. What I'm seeing is just data integrity is positive, not negative, and it could go in the direction that I want, upside, and then I can get like a good 2 bar confirmation on a daily or even a weekly, and then that's where you got to decide if you want to go long or not, because like this move here, it could bust and then go short again. Um, but like it just looks like, as you can see, like it's been flirting with the bottom of the trend line for a while, and then you get a bunch of partials, and it's just kind of going up and up and up now, these troughs, and so it's it's slowing down. It's slowing down, so that's a good sign. And then this is trying to hang out more on the bullish side, so that's all good and well. Then of course I've got these trend lines here, which are from the initial correction right here. Kind of a descending triangle topping pattern. This is the apex, which in triangle patterns you can see this is very textbook. From the base here to the where these converge, the apex, or also called the cradle, typically you'll get a breakout 2/3 from the base to the cradle. So as you can see, that's about here, and it breaks out downside. Then it usually comes back for a test because it breaks out, it's volatile and so forth, and so you have dealers and option traders and such trying to hedge their positions, so it'll kind of balance out and then make the real move in the direction that it was always intending to go. And so this was obviously always going to be bearish because it went bearish at that point. And typically the pivot low for these kind of breakouts occurs right at this apex. And so that's what you have here. So that's pretty textbook. Now what you watch out for is a bust, because if it's a bust, people are hedging their positions, and then if they really want to take money and they have the ability to move the market, they'd bust it upside. And then all those shorts are out. That's how they steal the money. So, I mean, I guess not steal, but that's how they take your money fair and square in this game. So you have to be aware of that. But as you can see, like, it tried to break out upside, like I was saying, and then it busted. Totally common. You just have to be aware, and drawing the trend lines and recognizing the price action patterns and so forth makes it pretty easy to do. But what I'm really looking for here is this price action to come back up to this trend line here. What I'd really like to see is on a daily or a weekly, I'd like to see a 2-bar confirmation above this line before I actually buy in. Because then I know it's like it's less likely to bust because that's quite a bit up. It's still in line with the quantitative aspects of the supply and demand. And so if it's going to move all the way up here and then have a 2-bar confirmation, it's low risk to just buy in and have a stop like at this trend line. Keep it tight, keep your losses small. And then you can ride it just to the top, which if it makes a new top, it's going to be higher than this prior high. So it's going to be over 5K. So you're kind of going from like 2K up to 5K. I mean, that's a nice trade. So that's essentially what I'm waiting for. But this looks to be slowing down. I can't say 100% that it bottomed yet, because on the weekly, there's no negative confirmation, and the negative confirmation is what really solidifies it. So yeah, that's it. That's the analysis on Ethereum. It's slowing down. I think it's going to do like a bottoming consolidation pattern, and then I'm looking for it to get back to this trend line with a 2-bar confirmation over it. Then I'll analyze it again to see, okay, is it going to bust and come back and then go? Or do I just want to like buy in with a 2-bar and then maybe make the stop a little bit lower than the trend line in case it tries to retest it and bust? So that's all up to the trader, and I'll have to figure that out at the time. I'll have to look and see what happens in between now and then to get more confirmations, but essentially that's the plan. I want to see a 2-bar over this. I'll buy in with a tight stop so my losses are low in case it busts, or it just tries a retest before going upside. I can always buy back in. But if it breaks out and it doesn't bust or retest and it just goes, I want to make sure I'm in the trade so I don't, miss out. So, but that's the analysis, and that's what we're looking for. So yeah, this is kind of a good sign because I'd like to buy back in and go long. So anyway, that's it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your opinion in the comments on my analysis, or just what you think, how you analyze, etc. Drop some tips. Just trying to facilitate discussion. But anyway, that's it. And take care. Hope your trading goes well, and good luck.